This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, ABRP Planner, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? Today we're going to test the Kia EV3. This is a long-range 81 kilowatt-hour front-wheel drive. We're going to see how far we can drive, do a little consumption test, and then estimate the range based on that. So this is the car of the year 2025. Yes, Kia Bjørn approves. But how efficient is it? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. We have nice weather. But it's the 6th of May, so maybe not the warmest times yet. And the drag coefficient on this car is 0.26 something, so it's kind of boxy. And will it suffer now that we have somewhat strong wind today? Well, let's find out. So we will drive the north loop and back again, and then we measure stuff. So let's see. Yeah, one strange thing is that we had the drive mode here. So yeah, eco, normal, sport, mild drive. If I choose another mode, for example, eco mode I've been using, and I restart the car, then it defaults back to normal mode. So you have to remember it to set it back to eco mode. And I'm using Iterat's Sisan's account here. So, I mean, there is a profile here that should save all the settings, right? But apparently not the drive mode setting. Okay, before we start the loop, we're gonna check the weight. Front axle 1100. It's rear, maybe it's front wheel drive, so it should be front heavy. The whole car 1980. Oh, okay. So now we do the 120 test first. And how is Mjøsen today? Oh, we have well, I look on the map, it's supposed to be 6 meters per second headwind. That's around 20 kilometers per hour headwind. So yeah, I mean, in a way, the drag here means that when you're cruising at 120, it will be the same effect as 140 kilometers per hour, right? So yeah, to my big surprise, we can cruise 121, and that is 120 on GPS, or 122 maybe. That's 120, so quite accurate speedometer. And then how's the ride? Well, it's fairly good. Okay, there's some noise here, mainly the wind noise from the headwind. And then there's some road noise because we are on rough Norwegian asphalt. But I get the impression that it is quieter than the previous gen Korean cars, like e-Niro and Seoul. But then against more expensive Ioniq 5 or EV6, then maybe they are better. But okay, it's front wheel drive. I mentioned this before, that the one thing I don't like, the behavior, is that when you accelerate, the nose goes slightly up, and then when you decelerate or regen, because it does it on the front wheel, the nose dips slightly down. If this was rear wheel drive, it would not happen. But also, when we are driving now on the motorway, I feel like it is a bit bouncy, but not super bouncy, but because, you know, it is a crossover, then it bounces a bit. It has some suspension travel, but overall though, it's still nice comfort. One thing I don't like too much is the way the auto steer works. Right now it seems to be doing a good job. It depends on speed. The faster you drive, the more nervous it becomes, and it tends to make some, yeah, like now, kind of hard to show you, but it makes some slight adjustments in the curves. Instead of going even in the curve, it does like it slightly, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's not like some of the Chinese cars, but at least I haven't noticed too much slowdown in the curves, so that's good. Some Asian cars, especially Chinese cars, they tend to slow down too much, but so far in the stretch here, I'm doing spot on 120 kilometers per hour and no slowdowns, so that's good. We just turned around at Tongan, and now we're heading back south, and the consumption so far is 253 watt-hour per kilometer. Yeah, that sounds a bit high, but at least we will be lower on the way back. But you know, strong wind like this is never good for the consumption, because I'm not sure how to explain this, but you gain, I mean, you spend a lot more on the headwind versus what you save on the tailwind. I can show you better the auto steer now. See how the steering wheel slightly adjusts, even though the road is quite straight and has really gentle bends. Yeah, sometimes you can feel that it makes these weird turns. Well, yeah. So not as smooth as Tesla or many of the German cars. Okay, result from the test: 233 watt-hour per kilometer. Yeah, that's actually okay. So according to my estimation, the 90 test should be 165 watt-hour per kilometer. Let's test it out. Okay, now we cruise at 92 kilometers per hour, and that's 90 GPS speed. And then navigate to Rudshøgda. So I want to try to test the coasting. I mean, how bad is it going to be now with the headwind today, huh? Well, and also here, if you click there, you can see that the car estimates will arrive with 33%. I've seen that the estimation here is not that good. It seems to base it on that you follow the speed limit. So if you go over or under the speed limit, then it might be incorrect. So we'll check once we are there. Oh, look at the windsock. All the rings are erected, right? Or most of it. That should indicate that we have somewhat strong wind. But this car is equipped with a Harman Kardon sound system. How good is it? Well, let's test it out. Sounds good. Sounds way better than Kona, at least the old Kona. There's some bass here, there's a subwoofer in the back, right side. Okay, about here. It has that crispness and the details, but I still feel like it's not as detailed as the high-end, like Burmester or Kef reference. It still sounds pretty good. And there's some bass here, I like it. Because when I tested some Harman Kardon in, I think it was the BMW iX3, the bass was a bit too underwhelming. Here it seems to be better balanced, maybe slightly overwhelming. Also sounds fairly linear. But I mean, okay, sometimes I feel like it's slightly off linear, the bass. Maybe it has a peak at 60 Hertz. I haven't measured anything here. Just eyeballing it. Yeah, nice deep bass. Great details also in the high tones. Okay, now let's listen for some rattling in the doors. So you're gonna skip here a bit. There. Oh, there seems to be slight rattling. Not that much though, just a little bit. Ooh, yeah, here I can feel the deep bass. But the bass feels a bit boomy. Like, you know, aftermarket Biltema subwoofer you just throw in the trunk, right? Especially in this truck, I can hear the slight boominess. Okay, but let's see. If I go intense, in the intense part here. Okay, what happens if we crank up everything then? There might be clipping in the recording here, but I'm gonna listen now. Skip that. Okay, mainly the bass clips. You can hear that. Slight distortion in the higher tones, but not that much. And it doesn't play that loud. So, yeah, I wonder if that was the last song. Yeah, it was the last song. So, overall, how was it? Well, I mean, it sounds okay, but I feel like some of the other Harman Kardon sounds better. So, I mean, just because it has the Harman Kardon brand doesn't mean that it's the same on every car. So if I would give it points, maybe a good 7 or 7, I mean. Check this out. The water level at Mjøsa has been low for a long time because we haven't had much rain lately. So it seems like it's maybe 2 meters lower than normal, and especially over here, right? You can see a massive area is now dry. Wow. Alright, let's test coasting. It might not be the best day today. 15 degrees Celsius outside and some headwind, but alright, let's give it a shot. Wait for it to be negative now, battery power. There, okay. Now I have it on 0 region, but if I go in neutral, there. Now, okay, neutral should roll as much as possible. Interesting, auto steer still works now. So it's picked up some speed, but there's just lots of headwind. But also, when I did the Sunday drive with the Audi A6 e-tron, there is a tunnel in the beginning where I coast downhill, and at least the e-tron hit 3-digit speeds, whereas this Kia EV3 for some reason hit only 85 kilometers per hour, so it doesn't seem to coast that well. I'm not sure what's up with that, because Korean cars in general, they have low rolling resistance, low friction in the gearbox, and they are usually quite efficient at low speed, at least. Maybe not the best at high speed because of poor drag coefficient, but yeah, you can see it now. Here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, huh? What? Already here? What? Okay. No, I have to put the car in gear. Okay, that's it. We hit 90 kilometers per hour here. I mean, okay, we have downhill. I mean, we have headwind, yeah. The car still weighs roughly the same as many other cars. Okay, maybe a bit lighter than the average even for 81 kilowatt hour battery. But most cars, they would end up maybe here or further down the road at 90 kilometers per hour. So I get the impression now, based on several tests, that the EV3 seems to have not so great, how does it put this, drivetrain efficiency. Yeah, which is not, then we take out the drag out of the equation here, especially in that tunnel, you know. There is no wind affecting in the tunnel. It has constant airflow all the time. Well, as expected, initially the car estimated we will arrive here with 33%. We arrive with 37%. Okay, and then we're gonna head back, and then so far, at least the car estimates 17%. We'll probably arrive with, I don't know, 25 maybe? Man, maybe my hands are dry, but I have trouble scrolling up and down the volume here. It slips all the time. It's some plastic, yeah. And then, well, at least the good thing is that once you press it, it doesn't just mute the music, but it also pauses it. Some cars, like the Chinese cars, when you press it, it will only mute the playback music, right, from YouTube, from Bluetooth or a USB stick, but it doesn't pause it. But okay, anyway, same here. This is for checking other settings here, or trip meet or whatever. So same there, it keeps slipping. So that is nicht good. Should have been more rubberized or something else. But at least the nice thing is that I haven't seen many surfaces with piano finish. You know, the reflective surfaces are almost non-existent. So on sunny days like today, then I don't get reflection in my face. So that's nice. I just noticed that we have a Mazda MX-30 behind us. Been camping behind me for a long time now, just drafting. Yeah, that's only 35 kilowatt hour battery. But yeah, another nice feature with the Korean, well, at least the modern Korean cars, is that you can do this, and then you get the backup camera or the front camera, or maybe you want to have this view here, the GTA style camera. I mean, most cars I test nowadays, except for Tesla maybe, they cannot open the camera. You cannot show the camera while driving. Usually past 10-15 kilometers per hour, the camera shuts down. Why? Could be useful to see the trailer hitch, for example, right? Or when you go off-roading, you can see how the terrain goes. Yeah, and then I want to probably go on this way. Oh, okay, and then something like this. Huh? We are almost at Minnesota now, and the MX-30 is still following behind me. Every time I overtake a truck, it quickly comes behind me, after me, and just drafts behind me. So, all right, this test is almost done. So far, 165. You have to wait for the last uphill there. Just like sometimes when I hammer and race some random guy at night, and then when one of us takes the exit, then we just give them a nice hail there. Wait, well, dangerous angle, but yeah, have a nice trip, little bugger. You have less than half the battery is mine. All right, we ended up with 165 watt-hour per kilometer. How the heck could I know this beforehand? Well, because I did the Sunday drive a couple of days ago, and then it was 145 watt-hour per kilometer, and I know that in general you get around 20 watt-hour per kilometer higher consumption when you go at 90 with HVAC on. And then, yeah, okay, 22.5% we arrived with. Oh, let me adjust there. Yeah, and then the car initially predicted 17%, so it was way off. And also when it comes to distance here, it's supposed to be 146 kilometer, and then this car underreports, at least on this measurement, it underreports by I'm not sure, 1.4%, yeah. But then in some other measurement, I measured 1.6% underreporting. So that's actually quite big. All right, we're back home. So based on the test today, you see that we get less than 500 kilometers of range. This is 81 kilowatt hour battery. I feel like the competitors with similar size battery, they have better range because they have better efficiency. So a little bit disappointing or surprising that this Kia, which is a Korean car, you know, doesn't have as good efficiency as I expected. So not sure what's up with this. I mean, it's only 204 horsepower front wheel drive. Not any thirsty beast from the east. Maybe it's just boxy, and maybe it just doesn't like too strong headwind. Yeah, well, if I had the chance, I could try again some other day, but also based on the Sunday drive, it seems like it's not as efficient as, for example, Kona, in my opinion, or maybe even e-Niro, or the same indication I get from the 1,000 kilometer challenge. Also, e-Niro and Kona, they were more efficient than this car. So that's a bit strange. This is the latest and greatest from the Korean car manufacturer. But okay, besides from that, because we have a big battery, we still get okay range, and then actually okay and flat charging curve. So that's gonna be for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.